So everybody knows about Satoshi Nakamoto. I mean, no one knows who's behind it, but everybody knows what he did, what was his vision. And actually, that was the person that gave us the centralized money. Or it can be multiple people, right? A lot of people speculate. Can that be one person? Can that be a whole group? Or can it also be the government? But we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about the blockchain system, how that got created, and then we're going to move over to Hugo Philion and obviously what he is going to build with Flare and what his vision is for Flare Network. Because as far as I can see, the bigger picture, it's the same vision what Satoshi Nakamoto had for money. So Hugo has the vision, obviously, for data, but the same vision he's actually using just as Satoshi Nakamoto did with Bitcoin. So, just for the new people out there, I'm just going to explain about the Bitcoin blockchain because that's a very important thing for you to get it. Because once you get that, you will understand where I will go with this conversation about Hugo's vision for Flare. So, Satoshi's vision for Bitcoin. Obviously, back in 2008, he released the Bitcoin white paper. It states peer to peer transactions without having a third party involved, without having a bank involved, and it's fully decentralized. How? You have these miners, these computers that you leave on. These computers are actually checking these transactions. These computers are verifying transactions. So if I'm going to send Bitcoin to a friend in China, there is no bank involved. No one is like having control over that transaction. You have miners verifying these transactions, and these miners are these computers who are checking and verifying these transactions. It's completely without people, it's just pure machine. And obviously, if you compare this to a traditional banking transaction, it's just way different, way better, right? And we're just talking about Bitcoin. I mean, we can talk about other blockchains who are way better, but let's just talk about the base because that's very important. So obviously, you have these miners who are checking transactions and they receive Bitcoin as rewards once they check these transactions. So that's how actually people are doing these mining things. They leave their computer in their bedroom. That was actually way back, but now you need a lot more miners in order to receive these rewards, these Bitcoin rewards. So now you have warehouses full with them. So it's a system without people. You send money from A to B. You don't need a bank. You don't need to have that 7% failure rate. You don't need to wait 2 to 4 days. You don't need a bank that ha- has the possibility to freeze your account, right? These types of things. So actually, the Bitcoin blockchain is giving you that freedom to send money literally everywhere. If you send hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to someone, you need to sign papers. You need to wait for weeks. But with Bitcoin, couple ticks. What is your address, bro? All right, I got it. Let me double check. All right, that's it. Boom, send it. That's it. That is Bitcoin. Without a third party, completely run by machines. No person is involved. Absolutely no one. It's a system that no one also can manipulate. Obviously, if you have 51% of all the miners, but that's a very hard task to do. So now we know how the Bitcoin blockchain got set up, right? So that is Satoshi's vision. So obviously, we're going to talk about the vision what Hugo Philion has for Flare, which has a lot of similarities with Satoshi Nakamoto's vision for Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you on a whiteboard, and I'm going to explain this very simply so you can understand where I'm going with this. Because I'm not saying that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. I'm saying that the vision what Hugo has for Flare is almost the same what actually Satoshi Nakamoto has for Bitcoin. And actually, Satoshi Nakamoto would have probably be very happy to see this happening with Flare. I betcha. So we're just going to the whiteboard and I will explain to you what I actually mean. So let me explain this to you guys on a whiteboard. So you obviously have Flare, you have Bitcoin, and Flare is aiming to decentralize data. Bitcoin is here to decentralize money. So they're both doing the same thing, but Flare is doing it for data, Bitcoin is doing it for money, right? So what are their enemies? I would say, what are the problems? Bitcoin's problem is obviously central banks and their manipulation, centralized. Flare's problem are obviously centralized oracles. And also you have these APIs that are centralized that Flare is battling. So they have enemies that are obviously centralized. So once you get that, we can move on. So what is their solution? What is Bitcoin's solution? Obviously, you have Bitcoin solution as in Bitcoin, plus obviously the blockchain. Right? What is Flare's solution? Flare's solution is obviously FTSO, Flare Time Series Oracle, plus Flare Data Connector. So real quick for the people who don't know what an FTSO is, just like I explained over here, right? So you have Web 3 and Web 2. Web 3 is everything what is happening on chain, on the blockchain. It can be on the Bitcoin blockchain, it can be on the XRP ledger. So every information, every transaction, what is happening on the blockchain, on any other blockchain. Web 2 is obviously information from the internet, information from a news article, information from Google, any website. So Web 2 and Web 3 goes to obviously a system called FTSO. A lot of these validators, right? They're all here waiting to validate this information, and they all go through it. They're all validating. Oh yeah, this is true. Yep. It's all without humans. And then it goes to the smart contract. So just like the miners from Bitcoin, obviously, that are validating transactions, the FTSO is validating information from Web 3 and information from Web 2 without asking information to Google, to Yahoo. Nope. They just take it straight from the source. No middleman. Just taking it all, verifying it on the FTSO, go straight to the smart contract. These are both decentralized. No third party, no bank, no centralized API, and both are aiming to be obviously working without any human, any centralized entity. But Bitcoin is already doing it. Flare, we're talking about Flare over here, ladies and gentlemen, because with Flare, they are aiming to be fully decentralized. Any information that comes in on Flare network, just like Bitcoin's miners that are verifying these transactions, right? These miners here, we got so many miners, and you are over here and you want to send money over to your friend. That transaction goes to here, goes to here, goes to here, and then it goes to your friend. They check these transactions. That's true. Yep. And the money goes to that person without a bank. And then we have Flare. Flare obviously have these validators who are checking every information, and they're also validating it, right? They're also making sure that the information is correct. You have a smart contract over here. They say, it goes through here, and they check in it everywhere, and then it goes to a smart contract. So it's actually almost the same how it works if it comes to validating for Bitcoin. Obviously, the transaction for Flare is validating data. And they're actually doing it in a decentralized way. The more validators, the better it is decentralized. The more miners, the better it is decentralized. And both are having this system that you don't need a person in between. That is, guys, you guys need to realize this. And what Flare is doing for data is literally the same if it comes to Satoshi's vision for Bitcoin. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, what Hugo Philion is doing is actually, we should actually name him the Satoshi of data. Literally, the Satoshi of data, because the vision for Satoshi was literally what is happening today with Bitcoin is going to happen with Flare, but with data, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you guys understand now that Flare's vision is to decentralize data in almost the same way how Satoshi Nakamoto wanted for Bitcoin, right? Validating transactions, obviously with mining. That's obviously how Flare is doing it with validators validating data. So they're both doing it in a decentralized way. They both are aiming to be more decentralized. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions on Bitcoin. Obviously, people say it's created by the government, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about that system, how that system got set up. Because that system, what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted, is actually the same way how Hugo wants it for data. And I'm just talking about data here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not talking about F assets. I'm not talking about real world asset. I'm not talking about gaming. I'm not talking about DeFi because Flare has a lot of narratives. I'm just talking about data and how they are doing it. The fact that you can build an application and you don't need to ask permission for data. It's censorship free, ladies and gentlemen. Any builder that is building on the Flare network can build with data that is censorship free. This is something revolutionary. This, ladies and gentlemen, should be in the highlight. Everybody is just focusing on F assets. And yeah, it's a huge thing what is happening right now. But I'm just looking way beyond that. I'm looking what is going on with Flare. What will Flare do in the next 5 years? And how I see it is a whole digital economy being built on the Flare network. You will have quality, literally A plus quality games building on the Flare network, where you have your own wallet with your gaming skins, with your weapons and all of that in that wallet. And the whole game can also be changed if it comes to the weather. If it's raining outside, it's raining in the game. That's how that information from the time series Oracle comes in. You can build crazy stuff on Flare Network, guys. You guys have no idea how far this will go. But I'm showing you that the same vision, what they have for Flare, if it comes to decentralized data, is the same vision what Satoshi Nakamoto has for money. And that's literally the same. So that's why, guys, Satoshi Nakamoto will be very proud, if he's still alive today, at what Flare is doing. Hugo Philion's vision for Flare is decentralizing data, just like what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted for Bitcoin. Obviously, decentralizing money. Same blueprint, but both are doing it in a different way. Obviously, data and you have money, right? I'm not saying that Hugo Philion is literally the creator of an oracle. What I'm saying is they're doing it in a decentralized way. If you look at Chainlink, and yes, they were the first with that, with an oracle, but they don't have a layer one. You cannot build an application on top of Chainlink, and they're handpicking their nodes, which is not fully decentralized. Flare is aiming to be fully decentralized. So we can proudly say that Hugo is the Satoshi for data. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to let me know what you think about this whiteboard thing because this is the first time that I'm doing this. So let me know what you think about it. I hope you guys have learned a lot in this video. Make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, make sure to like this video, and I'll see you guys next time.